Hi everybody, my name is Lisa and I want to welcome you to another English class on Verbling. In this hour we're going to be having a reading class, and so if you have made a reservation for this class you can go ahead and use it now and join me here in the Google Hangouts. If you have not yet made a reservation, then you will be able to join the class as soon as you see the Join Class button. It does take one ticket to join the class, so you can get tickets by purchasing them one at a time, or you can become a premium member for $45 per month, and that allows you to take as many classes as you would like. Verbling offers English classes all day, every day, pretty much. We try to offer a class or two in English and in Spanish. We have Spanish classes as well. Every hour. The classes start on the hour, and so right now for me, because I live in Washington State in the United States, it's 11 a.m. my time. That's Pacific time zone, and you can join my class by clicking on the Join Class button. It's going to be a reading class, and so we're going to be reading an article. It's actually some marketing material. I picked something that is real life, very authentic, something that you could also sign up for and get, and it's an opportunity for you to practice your reading and pronunciation of words, and also listening to me speak, and we will be going over any vocabulary that is new for you that you don't really understand, or maybe you haven't used before. We can talk about that. If you have any questions during the class, then I'm here to answer your questions. So I'm just going to wait here to see people show up. I see that some people have been opening the document. It is the link to the document is right here in the Verbling chat, and that is there for you to open. So anybody watching this Verbling video right now can open that, and we're going to be reading this together. It's I thought I usually pick articles out of magazines like Forbes magazine or Wired.com, or sometimes the New York Times, or other news websites like the Huffington Post. Sometimes I choose blog posts from certain authors, and today I chose an actual email that I got from an author, and he has different products and things that you can buy, and I thought it would be fun to read this because it's a real life thing that happens every day. People in English, you're getting these types of materials in your email inbox, and it actually makes for interesting reading sometimes, but more importantly for you guys who are wanting to improve your English, it gives you another opportunity to learn a different type of language. So as you guys know, when you're learning a language, there's different topics you want to be able to speak about. Of course, some of the first things you learn may be speaking about yourself, your family, your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, things like that, and then you can move into other topics. And this is a topic about finances and learning and things like that. So let me welcome Ismail. Hi Ismail, how are you?
Hi Lisa, thank you. I am fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Just waiting for people to show up to class. I'm surprised. I know we had lots of reservations, but maybe people decided they had to go elsewhere and do other things. So we'll see if we have some more people show up to class here in the Google Hangouts with us. Selma, how are you
Yes.
doing?
Very well, thank you, teacher.
Okay, great. All right, well, wonderful. It looks like we do have some more people are going to join in. Javier, hi there. How are you today, Javier?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Good, thanks. Awesome. And let's see. Damla, hi there. Hi, Damla. Is your microphone working? Oh, you don't have a mic. Okay. All right. Well, you can join us, and we're going to be reading. So when we are reading, we won't be able to hear you. So you can ask questions and communicate with us in the Verbling chat then, if you'd like. So did everybody open the Google document? I'm going to put it up here in the screen share and get started.
Yes, Lisa.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, looks like we have other people who are also going to read along with us who are not in the Google Hangout. Let me just tell everybody who is watching this class right now, if you want to join so that you can read along with us and participate in the class, you can just join anytime you'd like. And we're going to get started. So again, before we start reading, I want to give you a little bit of background about this this particular reading, because it's different than what I usually do. I was mentioning before that I usually have articles from blogs or from various types of websites, but this is actually an email, a marketing email. So some of you, if you want to have a regular way of getting exposure to this type of English language, you might want to sign up. Just go to some different websites that you are interested in, the topics, and then if you sign up for them, some background noise. If you sign up for email from authors or from people that you like, then you'll often get on their email list, and they will send you regularly emails. Most of the time they're trying to sell you something, so it's a good thing to know that they're trying to sell you something, but they're oftentimes also giving you information that you might find interesting because you signed it up for their email list. So presumably you like that topic. So in this case, this is a guy who writes about finances, and he has a website and a book, and his book is called I Will Teach You to Be Rich, and his name is Ramit Sethi, and he's an American guy of Indian ancestry, and he's a pretty young guy, and so he has a fun way of teaching young people about finances and other things. And so, of course, lots of people have purchased his book because the title is so intriguing. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Lots of people in America and around the world like that idea of being rich. So,
Lisa,
yes,
is he
Ishmael.
rich now? Is the
Yes,
writer
yes.
really?
Well, you know, he is, because he has done lots of different things. Show you and his book, and so that's in the screen share, and the link is there. So this is him, this guy, and so he has lots of different products, and of course his testimonials of people he's helped. But it started off with his book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, which of course is, you know, on sale in bookstores and on Amazon and that type of thing. I have not read the whole book. I have looked at it several times, and he's a pretty interesting person, so I am on his email list. He also writes blog posts about finances and things like that. So yeah, he's not a super rich person like Bill Gates or something like that, but for a young guy, 30-something years old, he does pretty well, and he has helped other people make money. So being rich, obviously, some people think being rich means having millions of dollars, and other people want to have billions of dollars. So it depends on what your definition of rich is. But anyways, I was going to have us read this, and because it has a very informal language as well. So this is the way that, young people today, and I'm talking about young, educated. He went to Stanford University, so he got a degree from a very prestigious university, and he's a young 30-something-year-old guy, I think 30-something, maybe 20. I don't know how old he is exactly, but not 40. He's in his either late 20s or early 30s, I believe. And so this kind of language is something very common for that group of people. So let's get started. And so the way this is going to work is I'm, like usual, I will read, and then that way you guys hear me and you can listen, see how your listening comprehension is doing. And if you don't understand something, ask me. I will explain it to you, and I will also explain stuff. But this is pretty informal language, so it might be there might not be too many difficult vocabulary words, more phrases and things that might be hard to understand. All right, so here we go. So he addresses it to the person he's sending it to. So that's my name. Hi, Lisa. Did I tell you how I ended up choosing a major in college that made people crinkle their nose and say, "You're studying what?" Back in the day, like all high school kids, I was delusional and dumb. I would brag to my friends that I wanted to study computer science but with no programming and no math. I said that as a half joke, but not really, since I suck at both of those things and was desperate to avoid them. Okay, Ishmael, why don't you read for us?
Okay. Hi, Lisa. Did I tell you how I ended up choosing a major in college that made people crinkle their nose and say, "You are studying what?" Back in the day, like all high school kids, I was delusional and dumb. I would brag to my friends that I wanted to study computer science, but with no programming and no math. I said that as a half joke, but not really, since I suck at both of those things and was desperate to avoid them.
Avoid, yeah, good.
Avoid them.
Uh-huh. All right, so a major in college is what you decide to study. So it could be biology, chemistry, computer science, language, any of those things. It's what you're going to graduate with a specialty in. So that's what we call your major. Here is people crinkle their nose. So you can imagine somebody saying, "You're studying what?" And then they move their nose up and they make little lines on their nose. That's crinkle. That's what that word crinkle means. So when you crinkle your nose, it's like you move your nose up and say something like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" That's what he's talking about. And delusional and dumb. If you're delusional, you think things that aren't really true. Like you don't really know the facts of the matter. You think something and it's not really true. So that's a delusional. And of course, dumb is you're kind of dumb. You don't know what's going to happen in your future when you're in high school. To brag, to say you're going to do something and you're trying to show off in front of your friends. You're bragging about stuff. And so he was bragging that he was going to study computer science but with no programming and no math. Of course, that's what computer science is mostly about. He said it was a half joke. So he said it like kidding, like he was making a joke, but not really, since he was really wanting to avoid them. He did not want to do math or computer programming. When he says here, "I was desperate to avoid them," that just was really not wanting to do math or programming because he sucks at them. Very informal way of speaking, but very common that you'll hear young people, especially kids and teenagers and young people, even adults, of course, say this. If you say, "I suck at something," that means you can't do it. You're not very good at it. All right. If you tell somebody you suck at something, that means you're telling them that they are not very good at it. All right. I ended up finding the perfect major, something called Science, Technology, and Society. An awesome major that let me study the psychology of persuasion, group dynamics, deception, history, and design. The only problem was nobody wanted me to take it. My college advisors said, pick computer science, you can get jobs. My friends thought it was a major for athletes. Okay, Javier.
Okay. I ended up finding the perfect major, something called Science, Technology, and Society, an awesome major that let me study that psychology of persuasion, growth, dynamics, deception, history, and design. The only problem was nobody wanted me to take it. My college advisor said, pick computer science. You can get jobs. My friends thought it was a major for athletes.
Okay, good. I ended up. So that's a phrase. If you end up doing something, that means you decided. Finally, you decided. That was your final decision. So you ended up doing something. He ended up finding his perfect major. It was an awesome major, so a great major, and he got to do a couple of things. Study the psychology of persuasion, which he is now trying to use in this sales letter, which is the idea of how do you persuade somebody, or persuasion means to get somebody to do what you want them to do. So persuasion is happens a lot in sales and marketing. Group dynamics. Dynamics is what happens. What are the activities, things that happen when you get in a group of people. Deception is when you deceive somebody, when you kind of get them to think something that's maybe not true. So he studied about that, and of history and design. Design is when you design products, sales letters, websites, all those types of different ways that you make things is the design. And nobody wanted him to take it. The advisors are the people who help you try to figure out what you should do in college. They advise you, they tell you, they give you ideas. And a lot of people wanted him to do computer science because you can get good jobs. Get a good job and be employed. And a lot of his friends thought it was a major for athletes. Now that is something you might not be aware of, but in the United States there are a lot of people who go to college because they're very good at sports like football or baseball or something, and they're not necessarily always very good with academics. So if he's saying my friends thought it was a major for athletes, it means they thought it was a kind of like a fake thing to study. Athletes oftentimes take very easy classes, so because they're mostly focusing on their sports, they're not trying to become academics. Okay. Okay.
How
What?
do you get enough
Yeah, Ishmael.
score? Lisa,
How do they get enough what? School?
enough score credit or
Oh.
note maybe from exams?
Yeah, on their scores, on their tests and stuff. That's a very good question. Of course, a lot of athletes do take classes and they do okay in their classes. They study and they get grades and they get credit and then they graduate. Other athletes who are maybe the very most popular ones, sometimes they don't actually complete all of their classes. So I think a lot of times they get help with tutors, and maybe they do some more classes later, like in the summer, or that's what this is about. Is I think a lot of times that athletes, they try to take the easiest classes, so they will get credit with the least amount of work, academic work. So it's a very controversial thing, actually, Ishmael. Some people don't believe that the athletes should get, because a lot of times they get scholarships and they get to go to college for free and they get a lot of special attention, but it's not about the academics, it's about the sports, because in a lot of colleges and universities in the United States, the sports programs are very big money. Let's say they bring in a lot of money to the school because of selling tickets to sports fans, and so they want good athletes because they want their teams to be the winning teams. So that's a big controversial topic in universities, the difference between people who study and do really well in the academic part versus the athletes who are there to win games. So you make a good, you have a good question there, Ishmael, but it's a, a topic that is more, that we could talk about for many, many hours. All right, let's see. What happens when you're making a huge decision and nobody supports you? Worse, you have very few role models who've done what you're about to do. This isn't deciding what sandwich to buy from Subway. Picking a major is potentially life-changing. Imagine sitting in your dorm room, endlessly turning the pages of your course catalog to decide what major to take. Contradictory advice. Nobody who really understands what you want to do. In fact, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Okay, Selma, or Javier, did you go? Yeah. Selma?
Yes, teacher. What happens when you are making a huge decision and nobody supports you? Worse, you have very few role models who've done what you are about to do. This isn't This isn't deciding what sandwich to buy from Subway. Picking a major is potentially life-changing. Imagine sitting in your dorm room, endlessly turning the pages of your course catalog to decide what major to take. Contradictory advice. Nobody who really understands what you want to do.
Good. Yes.
In
So,
yeah.
what?
In fact, I didn't even know what I wanted to do.
Yes. Okay, good. So, so this is part of the sales letter. So now he's getting into like why he's writing this is like how do you make a big decision, a huge decision, especially when nobody wants you and you have very few role models. Role models, people that you can follow. They're people who've done what you've done, and you can study them and learn from them. That's what a role model is. He's saying this isn't deciding about what sandwich to buy from Subway. Subway is a sandwich shop chain here in the United States. Potentially life-changing, so picking a major, choosing a major, what to study may be life-changing for you. Let's see any words here you don't understand. In your dorm room, that's in the United States, a lot of students usually spend their first or second years, their first 2 years in the dorms. They're rooms where students live together. Okay, that's a dorm room. And then contradictory means you're getting advice from different people and it's the opposite. So one person is telling you to do this and then the other person is telling you not to do that. And they're telling you to do something else. So that could be happening when you're trying to make a decision and you don't even know what you want to do. So when we're facing a decision, when we're facing a decision that's so uncertain, so risky, so scary, what do? We start rationalizing, taking the safe choice. And because we're experts at being smothered by our own fears, we do it in very creative ways. We use creative self-talk like this. Okay, Ishmael, why don't you read all of that?
When we are facing a decision that's so uncertain, so risky, so scary, what do? We start rationalizing, taking the safe choice. And because we are experts at being smothered by our own fears, we do it in very creative ways. We use creative self-talk like this.
All right, when you're facing a decision, that is when you have to make a decision. When you're facing something, it means you're looking at having to do it. So it's kind of like you're just waiting to do it. So you have to make a decision. It's uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen. It's risky, scary. You start to rationalize. To rationalize it means you come up with the reasons why you should do it this way, and usually you do it this way because it's safe. It's this, you rationalize things that are the choices, and he's saying we are experts at being smothered by our own fears. If Smothered, it means like you're choking or you can't breathe anymore. Not choking, you can't breathe. Like, so if you smother somebody with a pillow, it means you put your pillow over their face and they can't breathe, that kind of thing. But we can be smothered means by our own fears, is we're too afraid to make a decision. So that's what he means by smothering. You don't speak up. You don't really you just feel like you can't breathe, you can't speak because you're so afraid to make a decision. And then we use what he's saying, creative. Creative self-talk is the talk that you do in your head, the things that you say to yourself. So these are some examples. You know what? I should take the safe major. Yeah, I won't get to study a lot of cool things I want to, but it will open a lot of doors. Open door theory of more hypothetical options later. Or you could say, I can always study those things sometime down the road, kicking the can. If that was such a good major, why aren't more people taking it? Search for social proof. Okay, Javier.
Yes. You know what? I should take the same major. Yeah, I gonna get to study a lot of the cool things I want to, but it will open a lot of doors. Open door theory of more hypothetical option later. I can always study those things. Sometime, down the road, kicking the can. If that was such a good major, why aren't more people taking it? Search for social proof.
Yeah. So he's giving you examples. Remember, this is a sales letter, so he's going through this now, things that you might be saying to yourself. Take the safe major. Yeah, this is called the open door theory. I can do something else later is what it is. Options. A hypothetical is something that may happen, but it's not necessarily going to happen. So it's just a hypothetical possibility. So you might say these things to yourself. Well, I'll do something else later on. Or this other one, oh, I can always study those things later. And this other one where you're trying to get social proof so that more people are doing it. All right, so here he goes. He's talking to us now. Attention, weirdo IWT. I will teach you to be rich. Readers, this isn't about picking a college major. This is about any major life decision you've faced where you were nervous, uncertain, and unclear about what to do. I ended up developing a framework to make major decisions like this. It let me sort the cobwebs in my head. Should I do this? What if blank, when you see this, it's like blank. What if blank happens? How can I be sure I'm making the right choice? All right, so now he's starting to get into the part where he's going to tell us something. Hi, Furkan. How are you? Do you want to read?
Good. Thank you.
Cool. Would you like to read? Right there.
Okay.
Attention, weirdo IWT readers.
Okay, attention, weird IWT readers. This isn't about picking a college major. This is about any major life decision you've faced where you were nervous, uncertain, and unclear about what to do. I ended up developing a framework to make major decisions like this. It let me sort the cobwebs in my head. Should I do this? What if happens? How can I be sure I'm making the right choice? What most people do, they go inward, trying to think their way to clarity. They write lots of pro-con sheets of paper, hoping the answer will magically reveal itself, like the Beautiful Mind movie with Russell Crowe.
Okay, let's stop there. Okay, let me go over some of this. And hi there, Amparo. Okay, weirdo. So
hi, teacher.
Right. So, Amparo, we're reading the sales letter, so it's an interesting language that we're reading today. So this guy's talking to us, the readers of this marketing sales email that he sent out. Attention, weirdo. So weirdo means like he's calling us, oh, you guys who want to be rich and stuff. So whenever you call somebody weirdo, it's not necessarily, well, it can be an insult, but in this case he's using it for fun. He's just saying, yeah, we're all weird here. We want to know these things, you know, about finances and things. So he's here to help us learn things. So he's saying, he was just telling us this story about picking a college major, but now that's not what he really wants to talk about. He really wants to tell us that he's created this way of making decisions, and it can be for any major life decision. So anything that you're going to have to make a decision about. When you face something, make a decision. Even though when you're nervous, you're uncertain, and you're unclear, like you don't really know what you're going to do. So here's his framework. A framework is something that allows you to work through it and then come to a conclusion. So his framework let him sort the cobwebs in his head. These are the things that spiders make, spider webs, we also call them. And sometimes when people say they have cobwebs in their head, it means that they're confused. So he's talking about the confusion. Should I do this? And what if blank happens? So when you see something like, because we don't know what's going to happen. How can I be sure I'm making the right choice? All right, so this is what he starts saying. What most people do, and this is what most people do. They go inward, so they go thinking inside their head, and they think that they can think their way to clarity. They think if they just think a lot, they'll be able to make a good decision. They'll be clear. If you have clarity, that means you are clear about what you want to do. You know, yes, I want to do this. And so they write a lot of pro-con sheets. So that's like a list. On one side you have the pros, what's good about this decision, what are the cons, what are the bad parts about this decision, and then you hopefully hope that the answer will magically reveal itself. So it just shows you itself. You think after you make this pro-con sheet, then all of a sudden you're going to know, oh, okay, now I know what I need to do. And then he's saying what marginally smarter people do, they realize that with uncertain matters, so things you don't really know too much about, you can't simply think your way to clarity. So they reach out to people around them and ask for advice. However, they often make a critical mistake. They only ask people just like them, people at the same level with the same level of knowledge and experience. Okay, Selma.
What marginally smart people do, they realize that with uncertain matters, you can't simply think your way to clarity. So they reach out to people around them and ask for advice. However, they often make a critical mistake. They only ask people just like them, people at the same level, with the same level of knowledge and experience.
Mm-hmm. Good. So the word marginally smarter means a little bit smarter. So a person who's a little bit smarter than that, they will go ask somebody else. They will reach out to others. It means you ask them for help or for advice. And he's saying that they make a critical mistake. And this word critical means an important mistake, a crucial mistake. And the problem is that they are only asking people that are just like them. So people who are, what he's saying is at the same level, with the same level of knowledge and experience. All right, and so what smart people do, he's saying, not only do they ask people for advice, they ask people with different backgrounds and varied levels of expertise. I went through all three levels. I first started by writing down every pro-con I could think of. Nothing helped. Then I asked my friends, who were all freshmen or sophomores. Not much help there. Okay, Amparo, you want to read that part?
What smart people do. Not only do they ask people for advice, they ask people with different backgrounds and varied levels of expertise. I went through all three levels. I first started by writing down every pro, con, and I could think of. Nothing helped. Then I asked my friends, who were all freshmen or sophomores. Not much help there.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what he's saying, what smart people do, and this is what he's kind of telling us the story of his process of learning. And that is, if you want to really get a better idea, is to go ask other people who have different backgrounds. A background means that you have done in your life, um, and ask people who have different levels of experience. So varied means a variety of levels. So of expertise. What are they expert? So you want to get different ideas from different people who aren't just exactly like you. So when he was in college, of course, when he was going around asking kids, young people his own age, sophomores, those people are, freshman is your first year of college, sophomore is your second year of college, so you're usually about 18, 19, 20 years old, something like that. They were not much help, okay? So finally I started reaching out to other people, advisors, graduates, business people, cold emailing random people I admired, everyone, and I sorted through the feedback. A lot of us are afraid to do this because why would they even talk to me? What if they tell me something opposite of what I want to hear? It's easy to hide in the dark and cover your ears, but true growth happens when you intentionally expose yourself to challenging feedback. Then develop a system to sort through it. Okay, Ishmael?
Yes. Finally, I started reaching out to other people, advisors, graduates, business people, cold emailing random people I admired, everyone, and I sorted through the feedback. Should I go?
Yeah. Keep going.
A lot of us are afraid to do this because why would they even talk to me? What if they tell me something opposite of what I want to hear? It is easy to hide in the dark and cover your ears. But true growth happens when you intentionally expose yourself to challenging feedback, then develop a system to sort through it.
Good. So finally, he's telling his again, he started reaching out. So he started to contact people, advisors, graduates, people who were more experienced with him, and he even uses this word, which is a new word because of cold email. We say cold calling. If you are trying to make sales and you cold call somebody, it means they're not expecting your call. So he was emailing people, just random people out of the blue, people that he liked or admired, so probably business people or authors, people like that. And then he had to sort through something. It means you go through it, you look at it, and you decide which is helpful or which is not, or which you like and which you don't. Sorting through something, and he's sorting through their feedback. So the feedback is the comments that he received from these people. What did they tell him? He's saying a lot of us are afraid to do this. Maybe we won't like what they have to say. Maybe we don't want to do what they say. He's saying it's easy to hide in the dark and cover your ears. So put your hands over your ears and not listen. But true growth, so if you really want to become better at something and grow at something that you like to do, he's saying that you have to intentionally with a purpose. You actually are knowingly doing something, not accidentally, but intentionally. You have to expose yourself to challenging feedback. So that means you have to get feedback from people. You have to expose yourself, which means you have to be available to let people tell you things, not go hiding in a corner or something like that.
Lisa,
yes.
sorry for interruption.
No, go ahead.
I get a little lost in the
which
text.
part? Yeah, which part?
Why the writer sent me and what try to learn the writer? I couldn't understand.
So he's sending this email because he's going to try to sell us something pretty soon. But he also is just trying to help his readers learn things. And so one of the things he wants us to learn is how to make decisions. So what do we do when we're trying to make a decision? And here he said, you know, you might make a pro-con list. That's a way to try to make a decision. Another one is to ask people for advice, but if you only ask people who are just like you, they don't know more than you.
Are there problem-solving methods?
Yes, that's what
Lisa?
yes, that's what he's going to get to.
May
Yeah,
I
and
ask some
yes, go ahead.
last questions?
Yeah.
What does he try to sell to people? I couldn't understand.
Yeah, well, he hasn't gotten there yet. It's a program, but he hasn't gotten there yet. His sales letters are very long. He doesn't just come out and say, here, you want to buy this. He's giving you a story, and then he's telling you how his process. That's what we're reading about. So he went through this process of trying these things, and finally he started asking people who know more than him. And that's what he's telling us that we need to do too. He's saying, I got better at doing this. Years later, I moved to New York City to think bigger and expose myself to different types of feedback. I realized that although I knew a lot of extremely smart people in Silicon Valley, I was only getting one-dimensional feedback. Isn't it weird? How many of us want to get extraordinary rewards, live the life, be able to buy drinks for our friends without worrying about cost, travel whenever we want, stay at amazing hotels, eat out at amazing restaurants, but we take the most conventional routes possible. So now he's starting to get to telling us what we should do. Javier?
Yes. I got better at doing this. Years later, I moved to NYC.
Yeah, it stands for New York City.
New York City, yes. To think bigger and expose myself to different types of feedback. I realized that although I knew a lot of extremely smart people in Silicon Valley, I was only getting one-dimensional feedback. Isn't it weird how many of us want to get extraordinary rewards, live the life, be able to buy drinks for our friends without worrying about costs, travel whenever we want, stay at amazing hotels, eat out at amazing restaurants, but we take the most conventional route possible.
Yeah. Okay, good. So here he is. He's saying, again, this is kind of his argument here. So he got better at using this way of making decisions. So he moved to New York City so that he could think bigger. So not just small. Thinking small means you just have little ideas that are not very big. Now he wants big ideas, and he wants to expose himself to different types of people so he can get different types of feedback. Because even though he was living in California, which is where the Silicon Valley computer companies are, and of course people there are very smart, they're extremely smart, that means very smart, it was one-dimensional. So extremely smart people, but maybe only in one area, maybe computers or technology or something like that, and that's called one-dimensional. And he was looking for people who could give him ideas and feedback in different topics, different subject areas. And he's saying all these different things. You might want extraordinary rewards. So, and he gives you the example, being able to buy drinks with people, not worrying about the cost. You want to travel wherever you want to, stay at amazing hotels, so really wonderful hotels, and eat at amazing restaurants. But we try to do that by taking conventional routes, the way that everybody has always done it, the regular way of doing it, instead of making something different or trying a new or creative idea. And he says, and when faced with tough decisions, decisions that could potentially skyrocket our careers and lives or keep us stagnant in our psychological quicksand, we retreat into ourselves and the same group of people we always turn to instead of reaching out to the very best people who could give us definitive answers. There's a better way. So here comes his. So he told us a story about himself. He set up the problem, which is how to make decisions, and now he's going to start telling us that how we can do it. Okay, so Alex, or wait, let's see, Selma, why don't you read that
As
first?
we face with tough decisions that could potentially skyrocket our careers and lives or keep us stagnant in our psychological quicksand. We retreat into ourselves and the same group of people we always turn to instead of reaching out to the very best people who could give us definitive answers. There is a better way.
Okay, good. There's a few things I can explain in this. So when faced with, so whenever you're faced with something, it just means that's the thing you have to do. So make a decision, a tough decision, a hard decision. And even one that could potentially or possibly, potentially means possibly, skyrocket our. So a rocket, of course, is a machine that goes up into the space, and to skyrocket something means like to be very successful. So you have to make a decision that could maybe make your career and your life very successful, make you a lot more money, something like that. Or your decision could keep you stagnant in our psychological quicksand. So this gives you the idea of you'll just stay where you are. Psychological quicksand is the kind of sand that if you're walking along and you step in quicksand, it starts you start going down into the ground, into the quicksand. So if you make a decision, it could either help your career or it could keep you where you are or even take you down lower. And so he's repeating himself here. The idea is we retreat into ourselves. To retreat means you go back inside yourself, inside your head. Oh, should I do this? Should I not do that? What's good about it? What's bad? Or you keep going to the same people, asking them, what should I do? What should I do? And instead of reaching out to the very best people who could give us a definitive, and something definitive is a very concrete, it's the best answer. So here's the better way. We can reach out to the world-class masters who have world-class advice. Even one tip they give us could be potentially life-changing. Now, you can spend years cultivating a network like this through adding massive value, cold calls, attending conferences, and on, or you can simply tap into my network. All right, so there's the part right there. Okay, Amparo?
We can reach out to the world-class master who have world-class advice, even one tip.
Even one tip, yeah.
You can spend years cultivating a network like this through adding massive value, cold calls, attending conference, on, or you can simply tap into my network.
Okay, yeah. So you could reach out to world-class masters. So masters are people very experienced, and even one tip. So a tip in this case, this usage right here means a piece of advice. So even one little piece of advice that they could give you could potentially change your life. It could make you rich, something like that. So he's saying now you can, or you can even say you could, spend years cultivating a network. Cultivating is growing your network. You know, you could spend a lot of time going to conferences, calling people out of the blue, sending them emails and stuff like that to build up your own network of masters.
Yes,
or you can, yes, hold on, or you can simply tap into my network. So that's his thing that he wants you to do, is to tap into his network. So he wants you to buy, really, is what he's saying. Buy into my network. Yes, Ismail.
Can we say we are talking about not a computer network?
Yes.
We are talking about social network. Or,
Exactly. Yes, you could say that you're tapping into his network of masters, of experienced people, his network of people that could help you learn the things that would help you achieve the success you want. That's what he's talking about. And here he goes on to say, I'm fortunate enough to have a personal network that extends into dozens of industries: fashion, tech, online business, modeling, journalism, venture capital. And it's my treat, um, he should say, and it's my treat being able, this is bad right here, he should write, and it's my treat to be able to open that network up to you, to give you access to the very best people in the world, all as a thank you for being an I will teach you to be rich reader. Okay, so here's this part for you to read, Ishmael.
okay. I am fortunate enough to have a personal network that extends into dozens of industries: fashion, tech, online business, modeling, journalism, venture capital. And it is my treat to be able to open that network up to you, to give you access to the very best people in the world. All as a thank you for being an I will teach you to be rich reader.
Mm-hmm. So that's what he's saying, is he is fortunate, he is lucky enough, he says, to have a personal network. So he's telling us all the different industries or areas that he has people who are very successful in these areas. Fashion, you guys know that's clothing and stuff, technology, online businesses, venture capital, that's people who invest in startup businesses and things, investors. And it's my treat. That means that he likes it, it's his gives him pleasure, or it's his. If you say it's my treat to do it, it means you're expressing that you like to do something. Oh, it'd be my treat to take you to dinner, for example. I would love to do that. So he's saying he's going to open up his network to give you access. Very best people in the world. To get access to them means you're going to learn from them. And he's saying that he's going to give you this all as a thank you. So this is to give you a thank you for being an I will teach you to be rich reader. So somebody who's read his book, reads his blog, that kind of stuff. So he's introducing an interview with New York Times columnist Ron Lieber. I invited my friend Ron Lieber, who writes the New York Times Money column, into my studio to ask him questions about being a top-tier journalist, building instant rapport with people, and how to be curious. I also wanted to deconstruct the methods and mindset behind his way to mastery. See, you can learn a lot from a journalist, even if you don't want to be one. For example, here's just some of what we covered in our conversation. Okay, Selma? Oh, look, we have Ricardo here, too. Wait, sorry, I think it was Javier. Javier, go ahead.
Introducing an interview with New York Times columnist Ron Lieber. I invited my friend Ron Lieber, who writes in the New York Times Money column, into my studio to ask him questions about being a top-tier journalist, building instant rapport with people, and how to be curious. I also wanted to construct the methods and mindset behind his way to mastery. See, you can learn a lot from a journalist, even if you don't want to be one. For example, here's just some of what he covered in our conversation.
Good. So what he's telling us is that he's opening up his network, and the way he's going to do that is by interviewing top people in these different industries and helping us, the readers of his email stuff, learn things from them. So he invited his friend Ron Lieber, who writes for the New York Times money column, so money and finances, this particular person. And he invited him into his studio, his place where he makes his videos, to ask him questions about being a top tier. That means like level at the top. A tier is like the different levels of journalists or journalism. So that's one thing they talked about. What's that like? The other thing is, how do you build instant rapport? Rapport, it's a French. Rapport means if you have a good rapport with people, that means you talk to them easily, you're very interested in the conversation. If you had bad rapport with somebody, it means you don't know how to talk to people, you're not very good at conversing with them. And also how to be curious. How do you, so those are the three things that he talked about in this interview. He also wanted to deconstruct methods. So when you deconstruct something, you take it apart so that you can understand it better. He wants to understand the methods and the mindset, the thinking behind his way to mastery. So this is you learn from people. And here's some of the things that are covered in the video right here. So how to strike up a conversation with anyone and go deeper than the generic "Hi, how are you?" The fun conversational game you can play to rapidly build your personal connection skills. The 3-minute way to add value to a VIP. How to balance being uber specialized with a more multi-dimensional. There, and let Selma read that part. So these are the things you can learn about if you watch this video, as he's telling us. Okay, Selma?
Okay, how to strike up conversation with anyone and go deeper than the generic "Hi, how are you?" The fun conversational game you can play to rapidly build our personal connection skills. The 3 minutes way to add value to a vibe. How to balance being upper specialized with a more multi-dimensional approach.
Good. So this is the things that you can learn about. Strike up a conversation. That means to start a conversation. Strike up something. You start something. Go deeper means you're not just talking about, oh, hi, how are you, how the weather. Actually, what they do, what they know. You can kind of pick their brain to learn from them. You learn a fun conversational game. You can rapidly build. So rapidly means quickly build your personal connection skills, talking to people, and adding value to a VIP. VIP is an important person, so some quick way that you can learn from them. And he wants to help you be more balanced. So uber specialized means you're over specialized. So you know something about, you know a lot about one thing, but maybe you want to learn more about many different things. Okay, Ron's insider recommendations for pitching stories to the New York Times or any media outlet. The proven system for becoming a well-known writer. How to become a super connector in the middle of your social community. The most effective way to use Facebook or Twitter. Hint, it's not to share vacation photos. Okay, Ricardo, you want to read those little things there?
Okay, teacher.
All right.
Starts with homes.
Starts with Ron's insider recommendations.
Okay. Ron's insider recommendation for pitching stories to the New York Times or any media outlet. The proven system for becoming a well-known writer. Oops. Sorry. Here. How to become a super connector in the middle of your social community. The most effective way to use Facebook or Twitter. Hint, it's not to share vacation photos.
Okay, so these are some other things you're going to learn if you watch this video. Insider recommendations, so that means he's an insider. He works for the New York Times, so he's inside the organization, so that you can learn how to pitch stories. That's like if you're a journalist and you want to get a story, so you tell them when you pitch something, it's like an idea, you're telling them your idea. And to be a super connector, so be able to connect with people, and how to use Facebook and Twitter effectively, in an effective way that works. And here's his hint. A hint is like a little tip. Don't post your vacation pictures. Here's the link to the video. Now, I stopped it there because I didn't think we had time to read the rest, but I am going to post the rest. And Ishmael, this will answer your question. This is the last part of the sales letter. So he's saying that this interview is part of his Brain Trust program. So this is his program that he wants to do, where each month he the new interview. So each month he's going to have a new interview, and all these things you get. You get a new interview every month. You get access to these private interviews. You get to watch them. You get access to a private community of 1,000+ top-notch IWT readers. So there's like a forum probably or something, and maybe some in-person meetups in your town that you can go to those. And then yeah, so I'm not going to read through this thing, but this is the thing he's selling you. And if you're ready to start applying all the material you've been reading for years, I invite you to join my Brain Trust program. To join, click here. So that's the program. He gave you a long story about how he learned how to make decisions and how he came up with this idea of learning from people who have more experience than him. And then he gave you an example of what the first interview is going to look like. And then he gave you the sales pitch of that this is what you will get. And now he doesn't tell you the price or anything because he wants you to click here, and then that'll take you to the page, which I have not clicked on. I don't know what it costs or anything. But if you guys are curious, you could go to it. And so I wanted to just read that because there's lots of good English language in there, and it's very common. If you guys ever go to these many websites, there's many of them on the internet, and you sign up for their email, you'll get these in your inbox, sometimes every day, sometimes every couple of days. But it might be a fun way to practice your English, this type of English, and to know what are they trying to sell me, what do they want me to buy, that type of thing. So it's an interesting way to practice your English. So, does anybody have any questions about the article? And do you think it's a good idea to go to experts in different fields to learn more about the things you want to do rather than just your own thinking? Is that something? Yeah, Ricardo?
Can you put the link on the chat, please? About
yes.
the video? Please.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Okay, Ismail, what did you want to say?
Have you tried? Is it useful? I always approach something like this with a question mark. I don't trust magic solution.
Yeah.
I am a little maybe not.
You're
so
skeptical. Yeah.
Yes,
you can
I am skeptical.
You could be skeptical of this. What were you going to say, Amparo?
Ismael is going to join to that page, and then he is going to tell us what happened.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's how the sales letters work. For most of the email marketing, this is called internet marketing. This is an example of a sales technique that people use. It's not bad or wrong. It's just for an English class, I wanted to give you that language and that type of way that they're using English so you understand how it's trying to persuade you to do something. And then, of course, they're not giving you all of the information. You have to click here to go to the next thing because it's probably not a cheap program. So, yeah.
Did you try it?
No, I haven't tried it. No, I don't even know what it says. I don't usually read all the emails. So let's see what it says here. So do you guys see it? Wait, let me put it back in the screen share. So I just clicked on it. So then this takes you to what is called, this is the sales page that he created. So if you read that email and then you click on that thing, this is his sales letter. So it's a whole nother long thing. And this is very common on the internet now. You see all this information. He's given you a lot of information, the mistakes that we make when we're trying to make decisions. You still don't know anything about the program. Introducing Ramit's Brain Trust. So there it is. You can watch the video. He's going to tell you about it. The master is what you're going to learn from them. Blah, blah, blah. All these testimonials from people who probably have worked with him or worked with others. All right, so then they tell you this is a $423 value. All these other benefits, and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's 100% risk-free, and what are you going to pay? You're going to pay just $49 per month. So that is a sample sales page of how internet marketing works. Lots of these things on the internet. I'm mostly doing it to expose you guys to this language, this way of using English. This is marketing and sales. Some people, it's good to know because you want to do this yourselves in English. You work in business, and you need to have this vocabulary, this type of language. And other people, it's just good to know because when you're reading stuff in English, this has a lot of very informal speaking directly to you, trying to speak directly to your emotions, your psychology, trying to get you to say, yes, I want that. So it's interesting language to study for English. Okay? All right, guys. I hope you learned something today and some new words, some new phrases, and maybe you'll go check out these different guys. There's lots of people like this guy on the internet, and sometimes they are pretty funny, and they create a lot of videos too. So if you watch his video, that's another good way to practice your English, is to, and especially would be more interesting if you looked at these people in areas that you're interested in. So if you're not interested in finances or something, but you're interested in sports or personal development or spirituality or something, there's lots of people on the internet doing these same type of videos and sales pages that you can practice your English reading them or listening to those videos. So yeah. Okay, guys, thanks for coming to class. We're done with this one. I'll have another one in a couple hours, a speaking class. If you guys want to come back, we can chat more.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Take care.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.